Now, the rest of the story.
Hey guys, so to be honest, this video probably should have happened in June. Pretty much it should have happened as soon as planting was done, but between hay and cultivating and the rest of the summer and life kind of got in the way, and I'm just now panic doing it. What I mean by panic doing it is I'm trying to get this fence torn out, level out, and put back in before we start harvest, which to me, to be completely honest, we could probably start today. We could probably find something that would run through. For us, the moment, I'm kind of hoping to have at least this current week to do this kind of odds and ends stuff and get some things out of the way so we're not worried about trying to do them either during harvest or after. And the fence that I'm tearing out here is, well, it's the lower end of the barnyard lot. It's the second fence that I tore out today. This one was pretty well right as bad as the upper one from the barn to the silo. It's been in existence since I was a kid, and I know the video really isn't picking up everything I was really figuring it would have shown. I should have cleaned my windows. This one in particular is just a patch job. Well, it's a worse patch job than the one above the barn. I mean, it's got wire panels, it's got barbed wire, it's got wooden boards across it. It's just one of those where it constantly gets neglected. And what I'm going through and doing, which is why I insisted I had to have the grapple bucket to do this job, is I'm going through and picking out all of the metal and stacking it up so I can send it down the road. And all the wood is getting sorted back out, and I'm taking it and putting it on the burn pile. And the grapple bucket combined with the Bobcat is about the best way to do a job like this. I mean, the JCB I guess would probably be the best, but the Bobcat, it has enough give that I'm not going to break stuff. I mean, the grapple bucket has a couple dings and dents from being put on the JCB and moving crete. So going through and being able to do your demolition with this thing, get everything cleaned up. The ground is dry, I mean like bone dry, so it's easier as opposed to if there was moisture in it and you're dealing with mud. But going through and getting everything cleaned up, out of the way, and then using the teeth on the grapple bucket allows you to actually work the dirt, smooth everything out, and gives you a nice area to work in. So hopefully tomorrow, the plan is to really go through, and I'm just going to put some gates across it. And not ideally the fence that I want to put around it. I don't know what I want to put around it. I just want something that's going to last. But the other issue we have with this fence down around my place, excuse me, trying to process breakfast here. That barn needs to go away. And it's just, I don't have any timeline or plans to really get rid of it at this point in time. I mean, the cattle operation has been kicked up a gear. I mean, it's going to be pushed. My cattle operation in particular is going to be pushed a lot harder. Dad's and Ryan's operations, we are pushing them right along also. And for myself, I got hay aplenty down at the valley, and I've pretty much accepted the fact, at least for the next year, 2, potentially 3 years, where I'm keeping every heifer that is a viable cow to the operation, and I'm going to be growing my cow herd. And this lower barnyard down here is where I would potentially be putting any additional cattle that I can't. If Rockville gets too crowded, I can at least put them in down here, and I can feed them hay down here also. So that's a big reason. A secondary reason why I need to get this cleaned up. Second is because the cattle in the winter, we overwinter on my dad's herd down here. We sort the feeder calves out and cows and calves and load everything out and do a lot of sorting in December, January time frame. And this fence, I think I left the gate still there yet. I'm going to get it right now. The spot here is probably the most recent fix to this, where it's just a patch job, where I set this gate up across here because this corner, the wire panel and the fencing that was there is just completely pushed over, and the gate was at least saving me from anything jumping the fence right here. And what I actually ended up doing is I reached down, grabbed the wire panel, and I'm ripping the wire panel out. I'm not being very careful or cautious with anything down here. I mean, the gates are the only thing that I'm being careful with as I drop it, because I'm planning on repurposing the gates. But the wire panel, the stakes, they're all bent, twisted, broken, rotten. It's just one of those things where you just rip it out with no remorse and move on to something better. And I am putting in wire panel up above the barn. That doesn't get a whole lot of cattle pressure compared to what was on it before. Just years and years of cattle pushing it. I mean, a lot of these fences were in when my grandpa's cattle were down here, and we just really need something that is workable. And I was telling my brother yesterday, it's just like, well, I got a bunch of fences and corner posts out among the pastures that I will be replacing, but I'm like, you got to start at the buildings. I mean, you got to have the fences and everything around the buildings in good condition, good working order first, and then work out from there. And these they need the attention. And right there, this is how I end up pulling out wood posts out of the ground with that grapple bucket. I mean, it doesn't bother me running the Bobcat whatsoever. Like I said, it actually has enough give to it, where like the deer steer, I think I'd probably break more, and I'd probably have a little bit more trouble just because I'm not used to running that on this grapple bucket. Don't really want to run the risk of like tearing up these gates or anything. I already know how the Bobcat feels, all the controls. I can tear around, and I did all this in about 5 hours, this and then above the barn. And I'm able to move gates, pick up the panels, and dirt work with one bucket, which is super nice. But the fence right here is a barbed wire fence, which anybody that has cattle will back me up and say that barbed wire around your barn lots isn't a good idea. And that one, I mean, knock on wood, actually has been really good as far as not having cattle run out through it, but it's just a matter of time. My problem is, why I'm really not resorting to putting in a bunch of board fence, is because board fence has a time limit on it. And we put on all that board fence out of my brother's place, but 10 years or so, and it's already starting to show its age and its wear and tear on it. And my problem is I want to put something in. I'd rather pay a little bit more for something that's got more staying power, so I'm not coming back through and ripping it all out again in 10 years and, I mean, starting from scratch. Granted, it gives you a chance to change things around. That's great, but I went through and tore out the bunk last year. I tore out the feed conveyor yesterday, the silos. The only silo that we have that would even be potentially put to work, I mean, to put silage in it again, excuse me, is the blue harvester down at my place. I have some very small, faint inklings of a desire to put in a feed bunk from the silo down towards the barn, so it's not straight out like it was when Grandpa was here, and then put in a longer feed bunk, and then use that harvester for filling it, to sustain. It'd essentially be for beef cows. But I don't know how much it would cost, but basically you're starting from scratch. We don't have the equipment. We could hire it done, but then just talking to my buddy, just what little bit he had hired done, sounds like that wasn't exactly a fun option either. Having to go through, restore the harvester, seal it, and have them come down and do all the work to it that it may need. New bunk, crete. I don't know if I'm looking at I don't know if $100,000 would do that or not. Well, I'm not a person for ag bags. I'm not. I mean, I get it. They're great, but I'm trying to stay true to my statement of I'm a low input cattle producer. Fences are a must. Handling facilities are a must. But as far as I will not be somebody that is going to buy 5 or 6 different ingredients for my cattle to feed them throughout the year. I'm talking corn silage, hay, oats. Minerals are required, but it comes down to like a TMR, and I wouldn't have any desire to do that either. I mean, let the cows eat the pasture. Set yourself up so you can, with relative ease, feed out a bunch of round bales and let them take care of themselves. The cows have proven for the last 8 to 10 years that they can handle and do quite well on round bales. And I don't have all the extra money tied into equipment and the time that would take to go through and feed them throughout the winter. I mean, throw them some bedding, throw them some feed, throw them some salt mineral blocks, and you're good to go. But this is all I got for this video. I got done so late last night. I wanted to actually show you guys everything we did, and we're planning on going through and putting the fences in today. We got posts down here already. I just got to get the driver on the 76 and at least get the building lots will be done tomorrow for the most part. So thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Take care. Take it easy. Keep in touch. I'll talk to you later.